A very happy new year to all our viewers from everyone here at Newsfirst. Good evening and welcome to Face to Face. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Niresh Eliathambi. The vital importance of international relations in today's world was driven home indeed over the last couple of weeks. First of all, we had the visit of the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, which was highly successful from Sri Lanka's point of view and also greatly strengthened relations with India at a time when Sri Lanka does indeed need to do so. And then, of course, we have the global situation where tariff wars, trade wars are going on around the world, and everything is topsy-turvy. No one knows what's going to happen tomorrow, and we need to be certain that our foreign relations are at the top of our game. We have with us this evening our Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Employment, Mr. Arun Hemachandra, with us after a few weeks break. Good to have you with us, Arun, and welcome and a Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year too, and thanks a lot for inviting me to this beautiful show once again.
Right, you've been very busy in the last few weeks and months, I know. Several foreign visits for official functions, and then of course we had the Indian Premier's visit, and now of course the global situation. So where do we start? Shall we start with the Indian Prime Minister's visit? And it takes an enormous amount of work behind the scenes to make such a visit a success. Tell us about everything that you guys had to do behind the scenes.
Well, indeed, it was a great visit, and I hope from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs side, we have done our maximum and best in order to make this visit a very successful and a fruitful one. And from the government's perspective, in my opinion, this is something that was really vital, and especially one of the key fact that the opposition was trying to kind of tarnish the image of the government is about the international relationship of this particular government. And they constantly during the campaign period, they were trying to pinpoint and they were trying to mention that NPP government will not be successful in their foreign relations. But we have proven them that is wrong. You know, they were trying to come up with a lot of examples, a lot of things that they were unable to prove. But then again, they were using those as very cheap tactics in order to, kind of when they don't have anything else to talk about. But once again, we have proven them that is wrong. And we have proven the public that we are very good at maintaining the international relationship between nations. It could be India, it could be China, it could be USA, or it could be the European part of the world. And I must be very thankful to the diplomats and the officials of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and also the other stakeholders, those who were, playing a very vital role in making this particular visit very successful. We were able to successfully sign many agreements, which, in one way, I would say may be a shocking thing for the opposition, because they always looked at us as an organization or maybe a party which is not so in favor of, Indian government. But Niresh, as you know, there are changes taking place in the world with the global transforming and processes that are taking place day by day. This is not a very rigid world. This is a very fast moving, constantly changing world. And there are nations which kind of had a situation where they had wars and problems, but they are very happily having very fruitful international relationship. But this is not something like that. Maybe, as a political party, we were criticizing in regards to certain activities. And also, if we look into this in a very deeper manner, even the foreign policy of India also has changed during the past so many decades, and especially when it comes to a situation where they had kind of a military intervention decades ago in Sri Lanka, and now totally different situations. And also we have to understand one thing: our present policies are purely based upon the manifesto that we provided to the public during the previous both elections, especially the presidential as well as the parliamentary elections. And we have clearly emphasized our foreign policies, especially our president, before he was elected as the president, he even had a very successful Indian trip. We even discussed that in this show, both of us. So we have taken a decision that definitely we have to have a very strong relationship with India, and also but subject to national interest. So I do strongly believe this is something really important, and successfully we were able to exchange many important agreements, and I'm pretty sure this will be really an important milestone.
No, Arun, it was very noticeable that President AKD and Prime Minister Modi seem to be so friendly with each other. They seem to get on very well. Is there a meeting of minds here, which goes beyond them just being the heads of the two nations?
Well, in my opinion, I would say both of them have a similar background, or I would say both of them from similar kind of roots, where they both are not from traditional political background, and also not from elite families, because in India also you get some kind of an elite political families, but both of them are not from that kind of backgrounds. So I would say that could be also one of the main reasons for them to get along. And also I would say this is something really important, because frankly speaking, because of the changes that are taking place in the world, the cooperation between these two nations are really important. And that is one of the doubts that many people also had in this country, how India and Sri Lanka will get along, especially under the NPP rule. So I would say the chemistry is working well, despite of what ideologies that we represent. But then again, I would say there are many common grounds for us to engage and work together, and I'm very happy to see this kind of engagements between these two great leaders.
Right, and of course the interests of countries do change over time. Sri Lanka's attitude and policies towards India in the 1980s were vastly different. We had a war going on, there were so many issues. And then, of course, the Indian government today is totally different from what we had back then.
Well, as I told you before, these are part and parcel of the transformations, and it's all about the approach and how nations coin their foreign policies. So
and also South Asia as a whole. When you think 30-40 years ago, we were the basket case of the world. But today, South Asia is the fastest growing region.
No, definitely. But the biggest problem is where we are in this fast moving world, or the part of the world. And I always mention this, whenever I get an opportunity to emphasize this particular topic. We are kind of a nation which were living on our past. We were living on our very ancient history. And I would say there are situations where we have to remember, where we have to kind of emphasize the proud history that we have. But then again, we should not always live on that. But unfortunately, as a nation, where we were heading to, what kind of achievements that we had during, let's say, the past 70 years or 60 years or 50 years, 40 years, I don't know what kind of achievements that we have reached, because unfortunately we were cursed with a war. We were a nation that was devastated, due to kind of split between the societies here, kind of a mentality that was left with the people with no interest to have a very strong national unity. And in terms of developments, in terms of economic growth, we were not going the speed that the world was going. If you look at the part of this world, or maybe especially Sri Lanka during the 50s, and the rest of the world during the 50s, we were far ahead. The early 50s, I would say. And if you look at the most rapidly developed world today, during the 50s, they were shanties, and they were kind of many poor development. But they were very successful in developing their nations, wherein we were really far away. But then again, I have a very strong belief, a trust on this government particularly, that definitely there are many opportunities for us to engage with the world and to go forward. And especially what was lacking in this country was, the transparency and a rule that was, full of rule of law, I would say. So that was lacking, and now there's an opportunity for us to have a corruption-free, a transparent, a resilient nation, that will go really far forward. And I do believe that we can reach the targets as early as possible.
Now, let's get to one of the biggest issues that the world has faced in decades, really, the trade wars that are going on now. Initially it was Donald Trump's policies changing, changing the US policies rather, with the global tariffs. But there's now been a slowdown in all of that. But the worrying thing perhaps is that, the clash between China and the US, which seems to be, it seems possibly to go beyond trade.
Well, I think this is the timely topic that we have to discuss here. In my opinion, we can divide this, the answer for this question into two different criterias. One is all about the problem that has been created now, and which is unprecedented, which is unconventional, I would say, and the general diplomacy does not work at times, and even President Trump has acknowledged that. So there's nothing wrong on I emphasizing this here. He clearly has emphasized that this is not, the traditional ways will not sort out this problem, and he has his own way of sorting this out. So yeah, that is something new. But the usual traditional diplomacy does not work here, because there are ways of getting things done in the global arena, and as a very senior journalist, but the traditional channels and the pathways do not clearly work here. But keeping that aside, if we look at this situation in a very deeper context, I would say, putting this in a very simple manner, if we can decode this problem, it's all about the amount that we obtain from imports, amount that we obtain from exporting goods to USA, is much greater than the amount that we spend on
imports from
USA. This is how we can simply look at this problem. So it is somewhat almost 1% of dollars that we spend on imports compared to the income that we generate from export. So this is not a problem that is exclusively to Sri Lanka. This is a problem, that is for many countries in the world. So one of the reasons for that, keeping Trump's policies aside and starting from a different, I would say, a different perspective, is because we have not diversified our export markets, and we were exporting to USA, and that has been our main market. And maybe the exporters, since they had a very strong, consistent, and a very good market, I would say, where the income was really stable, they also did not have any necessity to seek for any other markets. So it is not purely their fault, because they had this market, they had this income, and then they were doing it in the way that they wanted to do, and I don't find anything wrong in that. But as governments, those who previously ruled this country had some kind of a duty of care in order to explore many other markets in case if such thing could occur, because we though this was unprecedented, but then again the present government is facing a new situation, right? So there are other markets, especially when it comes to the African market, the European market, the Australian market, or the Oceanian markets. So those markets were not properly tapped, or maybe those were not properly organized, and those opportunities were not properly given to the exporters, I would say. So that part of the activity has to be done by the government, and as a government we are looking forward to also opening the gates to the other parts of the world. That is one thing, but meantime we are also engaging with very serious discussion with the American administration, especially the Trump administration, and we are looking forward to getting some positive news, and we are looking forward to various options in which way that we could kind of open, or maybe we could engage in business once again in the way that we used to do business with the America. So as you know, there's a positive news that there's a temporary suspension except for China to the other countries that were kind of listed in that particular list. So we are looking forward that there will be a very good engagement between these two countries, and especially I'm very thankful to the American ambassador station here, and then she called myself as well as our minister at the moment this tariff announcement was done, and she rendered her support. And even before this announcement was made, as Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we started to engage in kind of discussions with the stakeholders, especially I chaired a meeting along with our deputy finance ministers, because we have two finance deputy ministers, handling two different parts of the ministries. One is Professor Anil Jayantha, and the other one is Dr. Harshana Suryaperuma. And also along with President's advisor in regards to financial activities, Mr. Duminda Hulangama also was part of that discussion, and we had stakeholders from the industry ministry as well as export development board, and also we have got fabulous diplomats and retired ambassadors, those who are working along with the ministry, working in the ministry. We had participation from the Economic Affairs division of our ministry, and also we had this actually series of meetings organized by Lakshman Khadragamar Institute, which is a research body of our foreign ministry. So it was a very fruitful meeting in a way, and then through that meeting we were able to come across with various solutions, or the potential solution, I would say, could kind of cater the need of the hour. So that we initiated a month ago exactly, 13th of March, and then it was really successful, I would say. And then we had a series of more other discussions, and President also has appointed a committee now. So things are moving on, and there is now kind of a grace period kind of a thing for 3 months. And I hope things will be back in track, and our diplomacy also will have kind of a good result, and as well as, and also we are looking forward to kind of opening up other arenas also.
So would you say that in as much as a country could be prepared, the government was looking at what could happen? Of course, nobody really expected the tariffs on this scale, although President Trump had alluded to it in his campaigns and so on. But when it hit, I think the whole world was taken by surprise. But our government, as you said, there had been meetings with stakeholders, and so the process was already going on as to how we should respond.
Well, we were predictive, I would say, but maybe may not be with the percentage and things as such. And I was even predicting issues in a different way. Even let me put it in this way. We even had series of serious discussions in regards to what if there will be tariffs imposed on the country of origin. You're still talking about that. Right. Because in case, what if, let's say, for example, we are importing, I don't want to mention any names of the countries here, but then again, let me be diplomatic. Let's say we are importing raw materials for garments from a country called X, and US President Trump is imposing duties or tariffs on that particular country called X. So there are unprecedented situations which may arise, and then also we have to look into all these things, because as you know, this is not a traditional, this is not a conventional thing that is taking place in the world. So but we even went up to that kind of depth discussions, what if in case. And also there are situations where certain tariffs have not been imposed on certain goods or services. So we had to look into those things also. So given the situation, it's our duty to protect the sectors, especially the garment apparel sectors. And even I must happily say that for that particular discussion, we got a very reasonable participation from the apparel sector. The JAF was part of that discussion. So so that was really good, and then we were able to come up with some kind of statistical based analysis. So we have done our part, and then we are waiting for a phone call. Especially the president is waiting for a phone call with President Trump, but as you know, the waiting list is kind of long. There are many other leaders also trying to have a conversation. And also we had to be very thankful to our ambassador, who is stationed in Washington DC. So he's also doing his best in order to put things in order, things back in track. So I hope there are many stakeholders, those who are working, Presidential Secretariat, the ambassador and the mission in USA, our foreign ministry here. And also when it comes to various other stakeholders, those who are trying to help us in this regards, and also especially the American ambassador who is here. So I believe by proper cooperation and coordination, we'll be able to successfully overcome the situation, and maybe we may have to do certain adjustments when it comes to our part. And even I was highly concerned that since the import value was so low, maybe we may have to import certain things, especially from USA, in order to balance the situation. So it is purely based upon the trade, and trade, as you know, it's all about import and export, and so maybe we may have to balance up to a certain level. But once again, this is not an exclusive situation for Sri Lanka alone, and we even at BIMSTEC, when we were able to meet global leaders and the ministers.
Let's get to BIMSTEC in a little bit, but right now we need to take a short commercial break, and we'll be right back with our Deputy Foreign Minister Arun Hemachandra.
කන්තලේ මධ්‍ය මහාවිද්‍යාලීය ක්‍රීඩාංගණයට
අප්‍රේල් 19 දවස පුරා
අවුරුදු සිරියෙන් පුරවන්න ඔයාලත් එන්න.
අවුරුදු කුමරා කුමරිය බයිසිකල් ධාවන තරගය
ඔරුපැදීමේ තරගය සහ ජන ක්‍රීඩා රසක් සමග
කුරුණෑගල බැජී සංගීතයට ජනප්‍රිය ගායක ගායිකාවන් ගී ගයන
නැගෙන හිරට අවුරුදු
අප්‍රේල් 19 වනදා දවස පුරා
කන්තලේ මැදි වෙදුහල ක්‍රීඩාංගණයේදී.
නැහැ පුතේ, මේ රජීව්. ඔය මූණ වහගෙන ඉන්නේ එයා තමයි රාකේෂ්. රාජීව්!
සිහින ආදරේ
හෙට රාත්‍රී 9:30ට සිරස ටෙලිතිරයෙන්.
What are you doing?
I'm going home.
I'll give it another few hours.
Sam! Ah! All right. Higgins!
Inspector Kazi.
Prefect. Saturday and Sunday at 6:30 p.m. on TV1.
ඊට අත තිබ්බේකාගේ බෙල්ල කපලා දාන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට තමයි මේකේ ආත්මට සැනසීමක් ලැබෙන්නේ.
ඔයාලා දෙන්න පරිස්සමට ඉන්න ඕන පඬිතු වැඩ නොකර.
මේක මම මේ අතීයේ ප්ලෑන් කරපු දෙයක් නෙමෙයි. දවස් ගානක් තිස්සේ කොළ දමලා මම මේකේ ෆලෝ කරා.
මං කියන තැනට ඵලයක්.
රොකි හෙට රාත්‍රී 8ට සිරස ටෙලිතිරයෙන්.
ඔබේ ගමේ නගරේ දේශපාලනයේ හෙට දවස සතිය දිනවල සවස 6:30ට.
මේ හැමදේම පටන් ගන්න කලින් මගේ තීරණය උනේ විශාල තමයි ඔයාට හරියටම ගැලපෙන කෙනා කියලා.
ඔයාගේ ওই තීරණේ ඊ අපි කතා කරපු දේත් එක්ක සම්බන්ධයිද?
අපි සමහර දේවල් විසඳිලා කියලා හිතන් හිටියට ඇත්තට මේවා විසඳිලා නැහැ. මනමාලිගේ පාර්ශවයේ නෙමෙයි කරන මම තමයි මනමාලි.
රස රහසක්
හෙට රාත්‍රී 7:30ට
සිරස ටෙලිතිරයෙන්.
ඔබේ ගමේ නගරේ දේශපාලනයේ හෙට දවස සතිය දිනවල සවස 6:30ට.
Welcome back to Face for our first program of the new year. We are in conversation with Arun Hemachandra, our Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Employment. Arun, you had a very successful conference recently in Thailand at BIMSTEC. Now tell us a little bit about BIMSTEC, because many Sri Lankans may not be fully aware of what it is. It's of course the Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation, but it's basically 8 countries which are all bordering the Bay of Bengal, ranging, if I may go down the list of countries, Thailand, Sri Lanka, Nepal and Bhutan, which are of course landlocked countries close to the Bay of Bengal, and India, Myanmar, Bangladesh. Tell us about BIMSTEC and what took place in the recent conference.
Well, it was a good opportunity for Sri Lanka to get engaged with diplomatic relationship with these nations, and especially
I believe our Prime Minister was heading the delegation.
Prime Minister was heading the delegations, and from the Foreign Ministry side I was heading the team, and actually it was a very small team actually, like it was a composition of, I would say, Prime Minister and I myself as the Deputy Minister, but I was...
so the days of taking 250 people for a joyride
not anymore,
are
not
gone.
anymore,
Yes.
not anymore. And even I returned my travel expenses a couple of days back when I returned to the ministry. So I did not take anything, and we booked the tickets on economic class, even the Prime Minister. But we were given some upgrades, and that was a different story. But then again, the expenses wise, it was a very minimal trip, a very minimally spent trip. And then there was a participation from the ministry when it comes to the BIMSTEC, the Bilateral Economic Affairs Division. There are 2 diplomats they joined. So overall, it was a matter of 4 people took part, and then 2 from the security detail of Prime Minister. So it was a very, very small team, and I was very happy about that. And because primarily we were able to save a lot of money to the government, and I was seeing many smiling faces, especially in Bangkok, because even we were not giving any trouble to those Sri Lankan community or the people those who are stationed there. So it was overall it was very successful trip, and we had different levels, different layers of meetings that took place. There were senior official meetings in the BIMSTEC official level, and then I almost met every foreign ministers except India, because since Prime Minister Modi and Foreign Minister Jaishankar were heading to Sri Lanka immediately after BIMSTEC, so we did not have any separate meetings, because anyhow our Foreign Minister and the President were about to have series of engagements with them, so we did not have any meetings with them. But then again, especially with Thailand and Myanmar, especially these 2 nations, they were devastated, especially Myanmar was devastated by the earthquake. So we officially announced the support to Myanmar. That was handed over a couple of days back by the President's Secretary to the ambassador here. So and then we got involved in discussions with foreign ministers and prime ministers of all the other nations, especially Myanmar, Thailand, then Bhutan, then Nepal, then Bangladesh. So with all these leaders we had very close discussions, and I would say since SAARC is not
yes, what is now the situation with SAARC, which we of course have been a part of for so long, but then it never seemed to fulfill its promise.
Things are going little slow, and we also do have a responsibility to kind of revamp and reorganize and put everything back in track. And unfortunately, due to the I would say COVID and the other global economic conditions, I think unfortunately things were not in a perfect shape. But I would say BIMSTEC has created another arena for us, which is kind of we can get engaged in so many ways, and especially Sri Lanka being the only island nation. we play a very vital role, and also I was able to sign an MOU with other nations in regards to maritime cooperation, and which will make things easy. So I would say, that was really a good trip overall, and we have many other sub committees when it comes to agriculture and then health and various other sectors. So I would say recently also our agriculture and livestock deputy minister got engaged with a very important discussion with other leaders of other agriculture ministers of BIMSTEC. So overall, all in all, it was a very successful trip, and I am looking forward to many other engagements in days to come, and especially we'll be attending a very important meeting in Berlin, wherein I would say that we'll be engaging in a very serious series of discussions in regards to involving our peacekeeping forces in the UN forces. So that will be also very fruitful and important discussion, important meetings in days to come. So there are many engagements, many activities that are taking place, and I believe as a government we will be very successful in representing Sri Lanka in these global arenas.
Excellent. Now let's get to the other area that you are heavily involved in, which is foreign employment, and that's it has been a mainstay of our economy for so long. What can we expect in the future where foreign employment is concerned?
Primarily, Sri Lanka is having a minister and a deputy minister of foreign employment who are not doing business in the field of foreign employment. That is the most important and vital achievement that we have reached as a country. So we don't have any conflict of interest, we don't have any personal agendas, all what we have is the intention to develop the field. So we actually, I was able to have a couple of public days in the foreign employment part of the ministry when it comes to meeting all the stakeholders, especially those who have those who have returned from overseas, or maybe those who have relatives in overseas. Whenever they have problems, they can contact us and they can sort out most of the problems. And also the licensees, I would say, the agencies in the colloquial term. So I'm meeting the licensees also because they also do have their own problems, especially when ministers in the past, when they started to promote their own set of people, there were a lot of problems which all of a sudden arised in that sector. So we are meeting everybody, and also I'm having a very close communication with the officials here. So it's all about combining and working together with all the stakeholders, the people, those who are involved in the foreign employment, the licensees, and also most importantly the ministry and the other parts of the ministry like the bureau and the other stakeholders. More importantly, I would say that now that we have a good opportunity to engage with all the stakeholders, all what I have found is now we have to make a skilled migration, as the most promoted ones, and also we have to keep an end to the informal migration. So the safe migration has to be promoted, and there are ways that people try to leave the country in informal ways, and we are not ready to tolerate those things, and only when they face some problem in those countries that things will not be easy as such, in a way that we could help the people, those who are registered in the government database. So we emphasize and we request everybody those who are engaged in foreign employment to register themselves at the bureau database. They have to pay a very small amount of money, but then again, the support that they may get or they will get will be really meaningful. And in case in the past, if they did not get the adequate support that they were supposed to get, I would say that it is not our fault. But then again, as a new government, as a government which is highly concerned about the safety and the safe migration of the people, we will do our best in order to kind of overcome these problems. And also, Niresh, I want to mention one thing, that this government was successful enough to settle the passport problem, the passport crisis that the country was having, though it is not part of my ministry. But then again, many people have this problem because those who apply for passports from overseas, and also those who are planning to apply, or those who have applied for passports while being in Sri Lanka, those who are planning to go overseas for any kind of foreign employment or maybe engage in certain activities. It's my duty to answer this question also, though it is not directly coming under my purview. Frankly speaking, the law, the Public Security Ministry is one of the very successful case studies when it comes to settling this crisis. And there was a very huge queue. There was a very huge ongoing crisis that was there. But then again, hats off to the minister, deputy minister, as well as the officials, those who were very successful on encountering this thing, and also it was really helpful for us. And I saw many social media appreciation, which were now people, they don't have to be on a very long waiting list. They can even it's functioning even 24 hours, so they can submit the documents, and so things are going on the right track. And also I would happily say, when we came to the power, the list was really big, the waiting list of the backlog of applicants, those who applied from foreign missions. But we were able to successfully bring the list down, and it was around 60,000 in the beginning. But then again, when I checked recently, it was around...
So 60,000 applicants
were
from,
in the various missions.
For
foreign missions, I have the list even. And then recently when I checked with the Immigration Department, it was around 7,000, and I'm pretty sure by this time the numbers must have been even down. The 7,000 was a composition of a very small backlog and a large new applicants. So since people got to know that this is moving, now people have applied, and I know people had a very hard time, especially their foreign employment was purely based upon these passport renewals, and many were paying huge sum of fines. It was kind of a huge amount for them, and compared to the amount that they were earning.
It's heartening to see that the bureaucracy is also working better now, because why was there a backlog? It was simply that people didn't feel like doing their work efficiently, and there were various obstacles.
Well,
but now,
Niresh, I would not put the blame exclusively on them. It's all about setting examples. It's all about creating new precedents. It's all about we getting involved. At some point, I don't mind. Going down or talking to certain officials, talking to certain additional secretaries or secretaries, and we don't have to have that ego, I would say. So now, and they also are very happy to work with us, and they have that kind of mindset that that they have to help this government, because this government is trying to do something, and so even they work beyond what they are supposed to do. So I'm very happy to see this kind of cooperation and coordination between the political authorities as well as the I would say the officials or the diplomats. This is kind of, I would say, there's a good lubrication, so the friction is kind of minimized. So I hope for the best.
And finally, let's talk about the local government polls, because you, of course, very successfully handled two major elections last year for the NPP, the presidential and the general election. And now we have the local government election, and your district, which of course you head, is Trincomalee. Are you looking at emulating the same success that you had last year?
Well, as you know, local government elections do have a different voting pattern. So, but then again, I do strongly believe that NPP will have a very successful elections in the upcoming polls, because people trust us. People can feel that change. People were anticipating for this kind of a government in Sri Lanka, and especially those who did not vote us during the past elections are also thinking about voting for us this time. There's a vast number of people, because since I was appointed to this position, I meet with every levels of people, every types of people, every category of people. So many of them were not our previous voters, and we especially in social events and in many kind of activities, we tend to meet many individuals, those who were not even thinking about voting for us. But then again, now they have that confidence, and now they have that expectation that NPP government will do well, especially under this president. So we have fulfilled that, and also we have proven that the opposition was wrong in terms of economy, in terms of sorting out problems, in terms of getting rid of corruptions, in terms of international relationships. So as a government, we have proven that we are a success story, and I'm looking forward to even a greater victory in the upcoming elections.
So Trincomalee district, which is the smallest electoral district in the country, I believe, has, is it 13 local government bodies?
There are 13 bodies. There are 11 DS divisions, but 13 local authorities.
One of which is a municipal council.
Yeah, this time Trincomalee Urban Council has been upgraded as a municipal council. Well, it's like even we were candidates in on the elections that were postponed,
illegally postponed by the previous regime
2 years back. But then again, now we are in the parliament and holding offices and things like that. But then again, it is the first time that Trinco has been upgraded as a municipal council, and I'm looking forward to a greater victory in the elections.
Excellent, excellent. And we will hear more from you, I'm sure, right after the election, when we hope to have you again. And I'm afraid we are out of time for tonight. My thanks to my guest, our Deputy Foreign Minister, Arun Hemachandra, for being with us once again. And thank you to you at home for watching. Don't go away, because the news is coming up next. Have a great evening and have a great year ahead.
TV1 TV for life.
Sri Lanka welcomes Sinhala and Tamil New Year. Extra buses and trains as New Year travel peaks. Police roll out special traffic and security measures during festive season. Stay safe, health officials urge caution amid celebrations. Trump threatens new tariffs on smartphones days after exempting them. China urges US to completely cancel tariffs.